good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, everyone, everywhere, depending on where and when you are joining Africa Online TV. Well, let me start by first wishing you a very, very happy Mother's Day to all of our women, all of our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties, godmothers, jajas, lolos, whatever it is your children and grandchildren, great grandchildren call you. We wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Not only a wonderful day, but a whole week, a whole month. Every day is Mother's Day. Amen. It is a gloomy kind of dreary kind of day outside my door. What's it looking like outside of your door? Well, as I said earlier, it is Mother's Day. So, what are we going to talk about? Of course, we're going to talk about mothers. But more importantly, we're going to talk about women who are influential and the impact and the influence that women have in our home, our country, our government, in the world. So, we're excited to bring this exciting topic to you. So, hold on to your seats, get ready for a dynamic conversation as we share our thoughts, the influential women in our lives, in our community, as we get ready to explore some that you may have heard of and some that you may not have heard of. And that will give you a reason to go and study. But right now, we're going to go to our co-host, Professor Nia with the editorial of the day. Good afternoon, my brother. How are you today?
Good afternoon and welcome to the show. It's a pleasure having you back because I think we missed you last week, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, please forgive me. That said, it is, as you said, Sunday, May the 11th. Yes, it is the 11th day of the month of May, the 131st day of the year 2025. And that leaves us with 234 days till the end of the year 2025. It is the 19th Sunday in the year 2025 on the 20th week of the calculation that we do every week. Today has been the 53rd day, Ambassador Lisa. It is the 53rd day of spring, so we still have 40 days till summer. So very soon, you'll no longer be worried so much about anything else than the heat that you'll be facing in your neck of the woods. It is Mother's Day, as co-host Ambassador Lisa has just said. Yes, this is celebrated every second Sunday in May. The holiday's origin in the United States in particular can be traced back to the post-Civil War era with Mothers' Work Days, promoting peace and reconciliation. Featuring today as part of our The Woman in the Family, Community and Country discussion, we will wrap Mother's Day into all we do and say today for and about our mothers. But first, it is World Ego Awareness Day. World Ego Awareness Day. That is your own ego. We all have egos and we go by them. So World Ego Awareness Day is celebrated on May 11 every year, and it's a reminder to every one of us of the dangers of having an inflated ego. It is an important day that should help people self-reflect on how big their ego really is, and at the same time, evaluate their experiences with people around them to determine just how much of their perceived ego comes in conflict with another person's ego. So please don't let your ego go in conflict with another person's ego. The day is also important because we believe that a society free of toxic egos would thrive better than one that is filled with less toxic egos or without egos. Whatever your ego is on this day, therefore, also remember that today is National Eat What You Want Day, a day meant to remind us that restricting ourselves from our favorite foods can be difficult. Yes, it can be. That is why on this day, people are encouraged to treat themselves by giving in to their sweet tooth, carb loading without having a marathon to run, and eating breakfast for dinner. This is because on Eat What You Want Day, no one can tell you what not to eat. That said, big or small egos, eating or not eating what we want should remind us of one person in our lives, our mother. It is Mother's Day, America, and we are discussing the woman in the family, in the community, and in the country. More than 100 countries in the world celebrate or recognize Mother's Day, and they accept it as, quote, a time-honored tradition of recognizing the women in our lives who raised us, dried our tears, tolerated our tantrums, and, well, mothered us. We are told that Americans spend over $3 billion, $3 billion, the B, $3 billion on flowers and plants alone for Mother's Day. The holiday, we are further told, accounts for about 26% of all holiday purchases for flowers and florists, from flower shops and from florists. Another fact to note is that this day is, quote, there are more phone calls made on Mother's Day than on any other day of the year, with approximately 122 million phone calls being made. You forgot to call your mom the whole year, Mother's Day comes and you pick up the phone and you say, oh, this is what I should do. I should have done it. And that is what we are here to do. We are here today, therefore, to give a shout out to that woman, that person in our lives who gave us a shoulder to cry on, who tolerated our tantrums, as I already said, and who, of course, made sure that she slept hungry just so we could have a full belly before we go to bed. With that being said, we turn to our chair, Her Royal Highness, Her Highness, Reverend Dr. Pam Fumino, to welcome us to this show.
Thank you so much, Nia Song. And let me start by wishing Ambassador Lisa and Dr. Crosslin a most pleasant, and Sister Debbie, a most pleasant Mother's Day, and to wish all the mothers, even on our forum, on our handles, and those who are going to watch this show, a beautiful and most pleasant Mother's Day. Nia Song, we should also thank them for not aborting us and for giving birth to us and for carrying us in their stomach. It's not easy being pregnant. Can you imagine a human being sitting on your bladder? It is not easy. And sometimes they kick and kick and kick, So I apologize. There's some Mother's Day activity going on where I am. So there'll be some noise. Some of the mothers brought their children as usual. But I'm actually doing this from the room. So I want to wish everybody a most pleasant Mother's Day. The role of women are the backbone of the family. They are usually the governors and the operation managers in the family, in the community, and in the nation. The family is the smallest unit of any community. And, that is why in the fifth commandment, God orders us to honor our fathers and our mothers. So our days may be long. That's the only commandment that comes with a promise. So the role of a mother is very important. And if we remember, when God created everybody plus Adam, he realized that it was not good for Adam to be alone in Genesis, and Adam would not have survived without a helpmeet. So he put him to sleep and then created Eve. So Adam had nothing to do with the dimensions and the characteristics of Eve. So he brought a woman. And that is to tell you that God himself knows that the men cannot survive without the women. So the women are pillars of the family, the community, and the nation, and must be respected, even though a lot of times they are not. But I thank God that Nia Song is a man who respects women. All right, so I'm going to go over to you, Ambassador Lisa, and then I'm going to mute.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Pam. I was getting ready to start off the conversation talking about Eve as the first woman, the first mother of society, of the world, of human nature, and how important her role was. It was so important that God did not just, form her from anything. He didn't just form her from the dust like he did the man. He took her out of Adam, took him out of the rib, that part of the rib that covers and protects the heart, and made us the helpmeet to help him meet the goals that he needs to accomplish for his life. So without her, there is no mankind, there is no society. So when we're talking about women and their influence in the family, in the country, in the community, and in the world, we have to first thank God for Eve and the role that she played. Yes, she made a mistake. That just shows she's human, but we can learn from her, and we learn from all of the women in the Bible. They all play a very important role in our development as spiritual beings. In the family, it's very important. So the family is the very first governmental structure that was created. And if you don't learn how to govern your home, you cannot govern in the city, you cannot govern in the country, in the state, on national or international level. So God allowed us to have that input right there in the family. So, like I said, we're the household technicians, we're the operations manager, we're the food distribution manager. There are so many titles that you could give us, but most of all, our children just call us mom. So we are just so excited because the family is the birthplace of everything and everywhere we go. So we want to talk about some influential women, but before we go there, let's just talk about the women in our families. I had an opportunity to visit one of my cousins yesterday in New York, and when I called her, I usually just show up at her door and call her from outside and tell her to come outside. But she said she may not be home, and I didn't want to walk all that distance to her home. So I called her, and she said, "You know, I really don't feel like any company today." And I said, oh, "Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to see you." And as we were talking, she says, "You're coming here anyway, aren't you?" I said, "You think I'm not going to come and see about you? You tell me you don't feel like company, that I'll be there in about 15 minutes. Just give me a minute." And we had an opportunity to sit and visit and talk. And it's so important that we as women visit with our families. We visit with our cousins. We were very, very tight growing up as children. It were 12 of us that are cousins, and we spent every single weekend at my grandparents' house. So I had to make the activities, keep us in line. I took us to the theater. We went to the movies. We made things. I had choirs. It's my job as the oldest granddaughter to do this for our family. So I'm still that one that keeps the family together. I'm still that one who goes and visits, writes the cards. So it's important that we understand our role in our families, that it is important that we keep our families together. And it's usually one or two that is responsible for the family staying together. What they taught me in chaplain training. I'm considered a parentified child because of the responsibilities I had. And some people, when I talk to them and they find out that they've been a parentified child, they resent the responsibility. They've resented the fact that they've had to be in charge of their brothers and sisters and their siblings and cousins. You know, they're not my kids. Why I have to watch them? But when we get older, we understand how important that role is that we were learning when we were in our teenage years or in our young adult years, how to be that parentified child. I'm blessed today to say I have three very amazing, successful sons because I was that parentified child. So I'm talking to you out there, whether you're joining us here on YouTube, whether you're watching on Facebook, or whether you're here in the Zoom room. I want you to understand that your role in your family is very important because we're talking about women and their role in the family, the communities, and in the world eventually. So if you can't be successful in your families, you're not going to be successful in your community or on the national and international stage. Dr. Gloria, we'd like to welcome you, one of our regular contributors to the show. How are you today?
I am blessed to be a blessing
Amen.
and hallelujah, praising his holy name, for he alone is holy.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Yes.
Back to all of you and to all the mothers.
Yes. Whether you're a mom, grandmother, as I said earlier, if you had some influence over a child, then you should be celebrating this day. So, what was your role in your family? How influential were you in your family? What was the thing that made you stick out and stand out there?
So my grandmother taught me how to love myself, God, and others.
Mm-hmm.
The certified executive producer of the Global Television Network's broadcast on Fox 5 Plus taught me how to love the unlovable.
Mm.
My mom, through her landmark Supreme Court decision, taught me how to fight. And I feel that all three of those women were instrumental in my life that helped me to stick out for now, because now, as I was growing up, people were always telling me that I would follow in my mom's footsteps. And unbeknownst to me, I have a case that might be going to the Supreme
Oh,
Court. But
wow.
it's with the district court and it involves DEI. So I'm really
Okay.
excited. Yes, I'm really excited about those opportunities. And I've been speaking with legislators and attorneys, and I've been getting positive feedback, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls and a lot of support, which reminds me growing up with my mom. There was a lot of that going on. So that's how I stick out. And I'm really excited about those opportunities and changing the world.
Yeah.
Oh, she's frozen?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, no,
It
that was
is.
my answer. I stuck out as a child.
Oh,
Okay, wonderful. See, it's important that even after we get adults, we need to look back over our lives and see the things that we were involved in, the things that we did, and see how those things have influenced us as adults, because all of that is a part of who we're going to be. And even going forward, ladies and gentlemen, when you're raising your children, be watchful for the things that they're doing and how you're influencing their lives, because they're the ones going to be signing your Social Security check. They're the ones that are going to be working prayerfully and contributing to your Social Security. And we want to make sure that we're leaving a good legacy, a good reputation for our children to follow us by. Nia Singh, now I know that you grew up in Africa, and this show is for Africans and those of us in the diaspora as well. So tell me how your mother was influential in your family, and what were some of the lessons that you learned from her?
well, thank you very much. It's 26 years ago I lost her. She went to be with the Maker, so we say, may she rest in peace. And then, of course, we say she was very influential in my family. She helped my father make decisions. We were a compound located in the heart of the forest, and we were a hosting family because many people went to do work their farms, stayed in our compound, and my mother always made sure that there was water, that we provided water in the compound, that she cooked food enough to go around. She said, if there is for one, there is for everybody who's.
Amen.
So she always made sure that there was food. And she always told my father, you have to let them stay because they have come to work their farms. We happen to be out here. Let them just do it. And of course, my father obliged. My father was not an argumentative father. He was who he was, and he let the women take control because he knew that whatever they said, they were going to fulfill it. They were going to cook the food. They were going to make sure that we, the children, carried the water because we had to go fetch water from the streams or from the brooks and bring home so that people who come to our compounds made sure they had water to eat, to drink, and
Mm-hmm.
had water to bathe themselves when they came back from their farms. Many of them saved us that trouble because they passed through the streams or the rivers and bathed before they came to the house. But there was always drinking water available. And my mother always told us, whatever you do, whenever you see somebody who's visiting, don't turn your back on that person. Ask first, do you need a cup of water? Would you like to drink some water? So she was very, very influential to us. She helped us understand that living in a community was something different than living in the forest where we were all by ourselves. When people come, it becomes a community. So welcome them, accept them, and give them the water you have at home and go fetch new water, fresh water from the stream or from the river or from the brook whenever you can, and make sure that we have that available for the people who visited. Of course, I left home early. I was a young boy. I left to go to secondary school. And because of that, I missed my mom for many, many years until I left in 1998 to come to the United States. And she passed in 1999. I say, well, Mom, you taught me a lot of things. And I remember you crying, not because there was something wrong, but because monkeys had devastated your best farm. And you came home crying, and I asked you, why are you crying? You said, because I will not be able to give you the food that I need for you to eat to grow up to be a big person. So that was that. And that has remained with me all my life. And she also said, as long as you know how to speak, you will never miss your way. So always remember that you have a mouth and you have a voice. Say what you think and think what you say. Let people not intimidate you or make you feel shy, because you have to grow up to be a man, to stand on your own two legs and to do your own things, and eventually to raise your own family. She saw my family before we left Africa. I'm grateful for that. And she was a blessing to all of them. She gave them her blessings before we left. And of course, we thank God for her presence in our lives. That being said, I don't know what else to add.
Well, she definitely sounds like the Proverb 31 woman. She was a wife of noble character. She saw to all the help. She made sure they were fed. She made sure she turned away no one, and that was such a blessing. Especially in light, and we're not talking about domestic violence at this point, but when you think about the majority of relationships in Africa, the husbands abusing the wives, abusing the children, like that is their character. That's like it's almost as if that's their job to do. And that's not what God created women or children for. But it was honorable to hear how your mother, yes, your mother was such a woman of noble character. And the seeds that are planted in us as children, we turn around and we implant them into our children, and prayerfully they go to the children's children down to the third and fourth generation, so that we're not sending or reciprocating the curse that could be passed down to the third and fourth generation. Thank you, Nia Sung, for that insight.
That being said, I wanted to give a shout out to Florence, my new mother, because when I left home, I eventually, after passing through my uncle's wife, through her hands, Mrs. Anastasia Tabang, I want to give a shout out to her. We call her Big Mommy, we call her Mama, we call her everything we can. Then there is, of course, Florence, who is the mother of the house now. We came to America, 7 of us. We are now 13 in the family, which means that the family has grown. There are grandchildren now, and we are hoping that she will continue to give us that blessing, because even in 2019, that she was challenged by the COVID thing, she survived on Pentecost Day, and we have continued to honor and praise her and thank her for all she does for us, to make sure that we don't go hungry any day. Whatever it is, she makes sure there is food in the house for all of us to eat.
Amen. Now, you said, so apparently Florence is still alive, correct?
Yes, she's alive.
Amen. And you said, I thank God too. You said that your mother had an opportunity to see your family. Now, I didn't know that. I thought when you came to America, you came here by yourself, or you may have came with your wife. I know you met your wife while you were in Africa. I didn't know that you had children while you were in Africa before you came to America.
When you hear Reverend Pam say, I've been married for donkeys of years,
yes,
she's serious. I was married in Africa. I had all my children in Africa. I came here with the 5 of them. That is 5 plus 2 makes 7. That's why I said we came to America, 7 of us. We are 13 today and counting, and the count continues. And of course, we are grateful to Florence for keeping it all together now.
And Florence is your wife. Let's make that clear. Florence is your wife.
My wife. The one I met in Victoria, the one I met and got married to many years ago, many years ago.
Okay. I thought Florence was, you said when we call her Big Mama, I thought she was like a mother figure who, you came here and she hosted you. And that's what I said, let me go back and, okay. So thank you, Reverend Pam and Nissa for straightening that out. So,
Yes.
Reverend Pam, it's your turn. How are you this evening or this afternoon?
I'm fine. I don't want to talk much about mother because I may get emotional. I lost my mom when I was 7. My mom died at 37, and she accomplished so much in her short life and left 8 kids. She died 2.5 hours after giving birth to my younger sister.
Oh my goodness.
My
Wow.
dad was basically my mom, and I don't really want to get emotional, so I'm not going to talk much about that. She was a mover and a shaker. We did her 50th anniversary of homegoing in 2021, and people were remembering her like she just passed away
Hmm.
yesterday. She was a mother, not just of our family. She had a lot of, she mothered a lot of children that were not her biological children. She was a community leader and national leader and a trailblazer. But I want to say this: my greatest accomplishment is motherhood, being a mother. I'm a mother of one amazing, where people say she's equivalent to 25 talented kids, one amazing young lady, multi-talented, PhD holder, but so gifted, and now she's a businesswoman. So I'm grateful to God for that. I've mothered a lot of people. I'm the sixth child in the family, but my nickname is Mother of the Family. So
Hmm.
I'll leave it at that, and I'll just stay muted. Ambassador Lisa, you have hosting permission. If that's okay, I'll stay muted and I'll be back toward the end of the show. Is that okay?
That's fine. Yes.
Thank you, guys.
I realize that, a lot of times we're doing our show, things are going on, we're a lot of places trying to accomplish a lot of things. So we do understand that sometimes we have some obligations that we have to fulfill, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, different things. So yes, we definitely understand. So we've talked about, uh, well, I didn't talk about the influence of my mother. Let me just talk a little bit about my mother. She was an amazing woman. She raised four of us. There were four of us. I'm the oldest, and I have a brother who was the youngest. There were three girls and a boy, so that was just me and my brother. My mother was a seamstress. She was a hairstylist, makeup artist. So every day, I love to tell her, so every day I went to school with new clothes. My mother would make new skirt. Back then, we couldn't wear pants to school. So it was easy to whip up a skirt or a dress. But every day we went to school, the three of us went to school with a new hairdo, with new clothes. We were all excited every morning to get up to see what mom made for us to wear to school that day. And wondering, do we have socks to match and things like that. And on Sundays we would all be at my grandparents because my mother and her sisters, they dropped us off at my grandparents on Friday. And we didn't see them again until Sunday at church. So we had an opportunity to really, really bond together. And I'm grateful to my mother. I still have both my aunts, but I'm grateful to my mother and my aunts for um, not dropping us off at grandmom's so they could do whatever they want, but they dropped us off, and that gave us an opportunity to really bond as cousins. Some of us are more like sisters and brothers than cousins, but we spent many, many years from the time we were very small until we were adults. I was an adult and still going to my grandmother's house on the weekend with my baby. And now, quite a few of us are still very close. They still look at me as Big Mama as well. One time my son got in trouble, and my little cousin was like, "Let me tell you something. You're not going to be over there harassing my big sister. Yes, that's my cousin, but she like a big sister to me. And you're not going to be over there doing this to my sister." And I just smiled. It just made my heart glad to know that this is how they thought of me. But I got all these kind of principles. I got all this understanding from my mother and her sisters and my grandparents. So I had just come up with an idea this weekend to write a book, and I was going to propose it to my family, and I had not put it to them yet. I said I'll wait for Mother's Day to be over before I pose this idea, but I want to do a book in honor of our grandparents. I want everybody to tell their favorite grandparent story, and we want to put them together, and it'll be a collection of stories from our family up. Well, I call us the up. We are the up north Turner Dutton Holloways, and then we have the down south Turner Dutton Holloways. And I want us all to get together and write, because all of our grandparents and our great grandparents are gone now. And we want to have something to pass down to our children who did not, well, maybe our grandchildren who did not know, have an opportunity to know who our grandparents were and what made us the people that we are. And I think that's something that we all should be doing, passing down these stories and these legacies so that our family and our family history is not lost in years to come. That's why we have the Rockefellers, we have the Rothschilds, we have the DuPonts. Their stories are passed down, and there's no reason why your story, your family story cannot be passed down. So let's get busy, get them pencils and pens out and tape recorders and start telling our family stories so that our legacies can go down to the generations as well. So we've spent some time there, son, talking about our families and the roles that our families, the roles that our women and our mothers had. I don't know if you can hear. I'm pretty sure you can't, but I'm trying to talk over a bunch of children outside in the yard playing, and it's like the screaming is so loud. I'm thinking that the whole world can hear, but
Let
we
them
never do.
be. Let them
Yeah,
be.
yeah, we never can hear the noise in your background. But I'm like, oh my goodness, they are having a ball out there. So we talked about the role of women and mothers in the family. Let's talk about our influence in the national or the city and governmental areas. And one that I like to start with, what one of my very favorites, as most of you know, I'm into aviation now, and one of my very favorites is Bessie Coleman.
Okay.
She did not allow the stigma of being a Black woman to deter her from her dream and her goals. She hadn't seen nobody else doing what she was doing, but she was determined. She knew what she wanted to do. She taught herself French because here in America, they would not teach a Black woman, they wouldn't teach a Black man how to fly. They didn't think we had the brain capacity to learn that such complex maneuvering as such. So she taught herself French. I've been trying to teach myself French near song. Uh, I think I took my first French class in 93, and
Okay.
I'm still just a little bit above having a 2, 3 sentence conversation. And I talk to my French
It's okay.
professor all the time, but it
Yeah.
goes in one ear and out the other. But you know what surprises me?
No.
When I'm practicing and trying to put together sentences, I'm thinking I'm making a mess until I get to the market or to the store and I hear somebody speaking French and I can jump in the conversation and I can have at least a 4 or 5 sentence conversation and I don't have to stop and think about it. It just flows. So it's in there. It's in
That's
there.
right. That's
It's
good.
in there. I just don't trust myself to know it's in there. But
Ambassador Lisa, let me just say something real quick to encourage you.
thank you.
It's bad enough that we already speak one colonial language, English. You don't need to bother learning another colonial language, French.
Well,
I grew up in Cameroon. It was made mandatory. I hated it. And my French is as basic, even though I'm from Cameroon. When we were in school, we had to learn how to speak and write it. It was mandatory, but
mhm.
I don't I don't really care for it, So I think you should learn how to speak my dialect, Bali Mungaka. Forget French.
Well, I'm trying to speak Swahili. I do better at
Good.
Ugandan.
Swahili, yeah,
Yeah, I do better
Hausa.
with Ugandan. Now at
Mhm.
church, when my Ugandan family comes, my pastor's not good. He's better with the Swahili than I am. So he's like, when my Ugandan family comes, he's like, okay, Prophet Lisa, would you greet our Ugandan family? And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I wow them with a little French, a little Ugandan, a little Swahili. At our conferences, he always has me come to do an international greeting. So I know a little bit of 5 languages, but I've never been good with the rolling of the R's. My tongue just does not work like that. But we're talking about the role of women in our community. So I was talking about Bessie Coleman, one of my heroes, and how she taught herself French and she moved to Paris so she could learn to fly at a French school. And then she came back to America and began to be a barnstormer and um, built her own airplane. She built an airplane that she did tricks and aerials. And when I was in 3rd grade, I wanted to be a pilot. I had never seen a woman pilot. I never saw a Black pilot. But that first trip to the airport, I knew that's what I wanted to do. But I didn't have 20/20 vision at the time, so I kind of gave it up. But now I'm back in it, and I'm very happy that I'm still alive to try and reach my goals. So I say all that to say, whatever it is that your dream is, whatever you desire to do, it is not too late. So get to step in, brothers and sisters, and fulfilling those calls. So Bessie Coleman is one of my very favorites. Another one that I am very that I like a lot is the hidden figure women, the women from the NASA era, even before it was called NASA. I forgot what it was called, but how the black women had to, they were called calculators and computers, and they could not go to the bathroom with the other people. They couldn't drink from the same coffee pot as the other people, but they still understood who they were. And I know for a fact that they didn't know they were going to be changing history. They were just doing what they felt was natural. So, Nancy, I say that we just need to do what it is that we think is natural. You never know what history that you're going to be changing, what history you're going to be making down through the road. So just go ahead on and do it. Like Nike commercials say, just do it. Don't hold back. So,
That's never
you know,
give up. Never
never
give up,
give up. Never give up. So
please. Yes.
NASA, as of last year, August, yes, last year, August, NASA renamed their Washington, D.C. headquarters after the first Black female engineer, Mary Jackson, who was a part of the Hidden Figure story. But, I love the fact that I'm seeing um, our history, our people are now being named, buildings are being named for them, and they're starting to have very big influence. As much as they are trying to erase our history and trying to get rid of history, the more they try to get rid of it, the more we keep going forward. So I encourage you again, go for it. Just do it. So NASA is renaming their, or has renamed their Washington headquarters after Mary Jackson, who was responsible for the calculations that allowed our men to finally go to the moon. That's really exciting. Who knew? Who knew back then that what she was doing was going to have the influence that it's having today in the 21st century? So we need to just go on and do what we need to do. Do you have any local heroes or heroines near song that you'd like to talk about that are doing things in your town or in your state that's making a difference? These very awesome Black trailblazers and history makers.
Not really, but I would just want to say congratulations to all the women who never gave up, who continued to strive on no matter what pressure the men brought on them, but who stood tall and did what they did to help make this world the better place that we are having. And we look forward to more women coming up and making the world a better place, because all we need is for those who understand it to use that knowledge to help us make a change, because the world is going the way it is going, not because nobody is taking care, but because the men are taking too much of it and not letting the women do what they should do. The women should step up as they have been stepping up these past years, so that together we can mold a better world. We can build a better world.
Yes, I agree. As I said earlier at the very beginning, we are the operations manager, food distribution clerk, household technician. We run a house. We can run a community. We can run a corporation. We can run the world. As Beyonce says, who runs the world? Girls do. So let's talk about a few other of these influential women in our life. We got a few minutes. Can Dr. Gloria?
Yeah, she's there. She's there. See her.
Oh, hi there. So,
Yes.
sure. So first I would like to say that Mother's Day in North Africa, the Arab tradition in Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, is celebrated on March 21st. And then there's other African countries that celebrate Mother's Day in line with Lent. And then there's some that celebrate it, obviously, today and the fourth Sunday. But in my book that I authored, Crossing Over on the Shoulders of Giants, tells about my mom's courage. So I consider myself a celebrity, and so do people locally around me, um, to where my book for me is a bestseller. It's the best because I've written 5 books,
Okay.
and that one has been my bestseller, talking about my mom's landmark Supreme Court decision. So yeah, I can definitely tell you all there is a difference between being a man in this world and being a girl, because I drive a car, as you know, and my dealership decided to put me in another car. They're like, okay, you're a queen. This is the car for you.
That's good.
And I fell for it, right? I'm like, okay, because I trust them. So the very next day, I bring the car back because I said, I know I'm a girl, but I don't think the car is supposed to handle this way. Make a long story short, I may be getting another new car, but the whole difference is they made the decision for me because they're guys.
Oh, right, right.
That's right. Yes.
And and when I needed their help the most, I had to admit I'm a girl. And they're like, yeah, you're a girl, but I should know this stuff, right? And so I don't know. It's really interesting how that's going to play out. But one thing I do know is that I am blessed and I didn't do anything wrong. And one thing my mom taught me was to stand up for myself and to, fight for justice, to fight for what is right. I purchased a warranty. I gave them money. I gave them everything they asked for. So they're they need to step up and they need to be real men. Thank you.
Mhm.
You're
Well,
right.
Dr. Gloria,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. But I was asking you about an influential woman in your community or in your state.
Yeah, that's me.
So you're talking about you. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Nia son, what about in your neck of the woods? Who was the woman who was very influential in your community, uh, in your state?
To tell the truth, at the moment, I can't pinpoint one, but I know that they're out there. Yes.
Do you know your council people? Do you know um
I don't go close to them, not because I
okay.
don't like it, but because I am who I am. I just keep myself, I keep it to myself, and I appreciate them when they do it. They do it the way they do it, and I recognize them. I cheer them up, I give them a shout out, and I thank them. But
Okay.
there was recently the executive of Prince George's County. She's now a senator. She's called Angela Alsabrook, and she's done a lot of things for Prince George's County, and she was able to win the election to become a senator representing Maryland. So
Okay.
I think she's one of those that I can quickly think of because she's done a lot, not only for Prince George's County, but now she's doing it for Maryland.
Wonderful, wonderful. And these women are very important. They have influence. We have a side of thinking that men don't have, as you heard Dr. Gloria say. The men gave her a car because she's a queen and felt she deserved an upgrade, but the car does not handle for her like a woman, like it should handle for a woman. I guess it handles more manly. You need more strength to turn the wheel, and we just want to be delicate. We just want to turn the wheel. We don't want to look like we're in the car fighting demons or fighting a gorilla trying to get it to turn. So I think women in trucks are very feminine. If you're a feminine woman, I just think there's something very feminine about a feminine woman stepping out of a truck. But sometimes, like Dr. Blair said, that does not work because it doesn't handle correctly. Now, in my city, I have to say, we've got some very dynamic women. I'm going to mention two. I want to mention our former council person, Janie Blackwell. She took over the council seat after her husband passed. And for years, I know over, I'm gonna have to say, I don't know how long, but I'm gonna have to say over 50 years, she ran after stepping in for her husband, the Honorable Lucian Blackwell. She took over, and until 20, I want to say, I think it was 2020 when the pandemic hit, that she was not reelected. But we call her Mother Africa because all of our African communities know that they can go to Janie Blackwell and she is going to get their community's money. She's going to make sure that ICE is not messing with them. She's going to make sure the police are not asking unfair questions. Um, she is a very big fighter for our African communities, and we love her and we adore her. And because of her, we are going to be opening our Africa Town very soon. I don't know about down there in Maryland or down there in Texas, but I know New York has a Chinatown, very big area called Chinatown. Well, we have a very big area. Well, it's not very big, but we've got this very big gateway that ushers you into Chinatown. And very soon we will be opening our Africa Town. And because of her, all our African stores, the restaurants, we're building a new stadium. I'm not a stadium. We're building a new theater, a couple of hotels where Africa Town is going to be the place for you to come and visit. So when people come to Philadelphia, they're not just going to go down to Liberty Hall or Liberty Mall to see the Statue of Liberty. I don't know what I'm talking about today. They're not going to just come see the Liberty Bell.
Yes.
But they're going to come to Philadelphia to go to Africa Town. And she is still, even though she is not the councilwoman, and rightfully so, a lot of us were disappointed when when she did not win. But Nia Sang, after you've done a job a certain number of years, it's time to sit down and enjoy the rest of your life. And that's how most of us had to think of it. She's still fighting for us, but we are so happy that she's having some time to herself, being able to not have to run to meetings or be in her office all night long and staying all night because somebody is in trouble. And I want to talk about our second most influential woman. She happens to be our 100th mayor and our first female mayor. And she happens to be African American as well, and that is the Honorable Sherelle Parker. She is our first African American mayor, the 100th mayor. She made history, and we're looking forward to seeing her do great things. She is not only standing on the back of some very great council people who mentored her, but she is fighting through a lot of things that all the other men have done before her. So we're giving her room, we're giving her breath, we're giving her space to breathe to make the changes that need to be made for the city of Philadelphia on behalf of the people of Philadelphia. So we encourage her, we pray for her, we push her, and we honor her for the work that she is doing here in the city of Philadelphia. Down. We're almost at the top of the hour. We've got about looks like about 8 more minutes
Yes.
before we get there. So at the top of the hour, we're going to come to you and we're going to bring you our anthem. We're going to bring you our next week's topic and some announcements before we wrap the show up with our final thoughts. But I want to talk about for a minute some other type of influential people, some icons, some people who are in theater, they're in the sports arena, and all these other arenas that are just not church or government that are equally as important because all of our children are not going to go into government or public service. Some of them may be athletic, some of them may be engineers, some of them may be a lot of things. So we need to know who those influential people are in those areas so that we can look to them as a trailblazer and a guide. And one that comes to mind not one, but two of them that come to mind very quickly. And I'm not a very big tennis fan at all, but the two that come to my mind is Venus and Serena Williams and how their father knew early on that they were going to be great. Not only did he speak it, not only did he say it, not only did he tell it to them, give them constant affirmation, but he put into practice. He didn't say, oh, go play tennis and leave them into the hands of someone else who could do better. Or sometimes that's what we do. Sometimes we take our children to people that we think are going to do better for them. Sometimes they do, but sometimes we run across those people who recognize our greatness and they do everything in their power to hold us back. But Venus and Serena are tennis champions all across the world. They have lines of clothing, they have athletic wear, they're mothers, as we're talking about them here on this Mother's Day. And Venus has become the first Black woman to hold the #1 rank in tennis. I mean, when you think of all the people who have been playing tennis, when you think about how long the game of tennis has been played, to have this beautiful young Black woman to hold the #1 rank in tennis. Not the #1 rank in your state or your city, but we're talking about in the world. She is a bad chick with a racket. Amen. So if
Amen.
you're athletic, I'm telling you, if your children are athletic, look for those mentors. Look for those people who can be a part of them. Study them. Find out what it took for them to be there, and then add your spin to it, and then your child and your grandchildren and your children's children can do the same thing. And 50 years, and we're not even talking about 100 years from now. We're only talking about just a couple years ago. We're already talking about the history that she is laying down. We're talking about her story that she is laying down for the world and her children as well. Venus and Serena. And Serena is the only female player to have won over $60 million in prize money, numerous titles to her belt, lots of titles and awards that she can hang on her tool belt. And we are so excited that she holds the rank of #1 in tennis as well. Can you think of any others in any area? Let's talk about Halle Berry. She is a dynamic woman as
Okay.
well.
Yes.
She became the first Black woman to win an Oscar. Now, granted, I wasn't excited about, that she won her Oscar for this particular role because I didn't like the character that won her the role in Monsters Ball, because
Yes.
she has played so many other things that were not as far as I'm concerned, degrading, that she could have won an Oscar for. But she is still the first Black woman to have won an Oscar, no matter the role that she played. So we're very excited about her because she's an influence force as well. I'm sure that when she was acting, she never thought that that would be possible, considering that it was 2002 when she won this. And how long has she been acting and seeing women come before her that were acting and that she probably thought was great, that should have won that award? But here she is, 2002, winning her Oscar for the best actress in her role in Monsters Ball.
Yeah, we cannot forget Oprah Winfrey. She has stood her own ground. She has
Yes.
broken her own glass ceiling. She's done her best to be who she is, from where she was to where she is today.
Yes. Oprah Winfrey, another one that we can be proud of. Self-made millionaire, actress, talk show host, author, and a very big encourager as well. I
Yes.
don't see her, she's not trying to be all that she is and keeping it all to herself. She is influencing young women in South Africa. She built a school there to educate women. And she's not just keeping all of her knowledge and wealth to herself. She is influencing and encouraging women all over as well.
Yes.
I can't see, but is Dr. Gloria still there?
I see Dr. Ogoji has just joined us.
Oh, okay. I knew I heard the bell ring, but I have my
Yeah,
thing
you can.
minimized.
Dr. Ogoji, if you can unmute and join us in the conversation, the role of the woman in the community, in the country, where I am. So
Yes.
Dr. Ogoji is here with us. Welcome to the show. And your contribution, we are celebrating Women's Day, or Women's Day, what? No, Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
There
Yes.
was Mother's Day, but honoring all women in our lives or in the world.
Well, women are the backbone of the society. They're the neck of the family that turns the head of the family. So we claim to be the head, but they are the final decision maker. Trust me, they decide what happened. If they decide,
Yeah,
we can
that's right.
we can pretend, we can do what we want to do. If they are not happy, nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy. That's right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Doge, we have a few minutes before we're at the top of the hour. So would you like to tell us a very quick story about your mother and the influence that she had not only in her family, but maybe in the community as well?
When my mother was the only girl out of 9 children,
Wow.
she was the second one, and her father passed away when she was about 10 or 11. At that point in time, she became the head of the family, that she and her mother has to work together to take care of all the younger ones. During the Biafra War, she was the one that would go out to the market and sell things, come and take care of the younger siblings. Um, she plays the father role in her family. Her mother's always been mother, but she became the one that would make sure the brothers all became do the things they're supposed to do at the right time, And she tells me one of her baby brother at one point refused to go to school, and her mom would not do anything. She has to come to the house and say, grab her baby brother when she was only about 14, 15, and take her away from her mother and take her to where she was living and make sure she go to school. So mothers are mothers, but she has to play the father role when her father passed away because her mom was just trying to be mother. Oh, I'm a widow. I don't want it to happen to my children. Once to let the sons do what they want to do, my mother have to stood up with her and say, no, they're your sons, they're my brothers. They have to be men. I have to make them men. And she was like a pillar of her family to make sure everybody do what they're supposed to do. So
Great. That's great. That's great.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Dr. Goji. So we're at the top of the hour. We're going to go to our anthem. Go grab a drink of water. Check on your dinner. If you were waiting to eat and when the show is over, go check on it. Make sure it's not burning. We'll be right back after our anthem.
Yes. It's not playing yet. Okay, here it goes.
Oh, Africa. Oh, Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa.
Yes.
Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans have many bright ideas. If only you let us share. If you really want to know my history, please come, sit down, listen to my story. God gave us a wisdom. He guides our footsteps, makes us shine and transform. Hey, as one people, with so many cultures, yet indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Let us all unite behind AfricaOnline Media Corporation. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. It's time to come together, promote awareness, progress, and solution. Hey. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. All Africans can rally for a common cause, to believe without judgment in what our brother does, to identify and resolve our challenges, to allow each other's ideas without regard to standards. As one people with so many cultures, yes indeed we are one. Stand up Africans for Africa. Let us solve all the problems plaguing our continent. Stand up Africans, let's save Africa. Let us empower Africans in and out of Africa. Stand up Africans for Africa. Africa Online Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up Africans, let's save Africa. They have all the resources we need to benefit our society. Oh. There will be education for everyone if we believe. Prosperity for Africans if we believe. Medical facilitation for Africans if we believe. Stand up Africa, yes, for Africa. Africa Online Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up Africans, let's save Africa. Africa is the cradle of civilization, the motherland. Stand up Africans for Africa. We were enslaved not because we were weak, but because of our hospitality. Stand up Africans, let's save Africa. Jump on the Africa Online Miracle Jet. Don't be left behind. Stand up Africans for Africa. Together we shall succeed. Together we will win. Stand up Africans. Let's save Africa. We are writing our own story, the truth, and we shall tell it to the world. Stand up Africans for Africa. No more lies. Africans own Africa.
No more lies. Africans own Africa. Amen. That song was written by our very own CEO of Africa Online, Her Royal Highness Queen Dr. Pam. And we are so grateful that we have that song that we can share every single week with you. And we pray that you take it to heart as well. So, Nia-san, what is our topic for next week? Do we have a clue?
Not yet. I thought the chairperson will come back before we get to this point, but I think, let me check my phone here. I think there was something that I had to read from my phone, which I didn't do when I was to. Yes, my assignment, I failed to. Okay, let's see. We should be discussing more about women. So we should, gender equality, is that a good one?
I believe that was it. Gender equality and civil rights.
Yes, gender equality and civil rights for next Sunday.
Okay.
We hope that you join us and that all of us will be here to get the show going. That will be another topic for the middle of the month of May.
Yes. So with that being said, let me jump over here to our sister organization, Africa's Brain Bank, which will be having it will be its sixth annual summit and gala, and it will be hosted right here on this continent in the wonderful city that never sleeps, New York City. So we encourage you to get ready to come to New York on Labor Day weekend. I'm hearing some talking. I'm not sure what's going on here. Come to New York on Labor Day weekend from August 28th through September 1st. The sixth annual summit will be taking place. There's something going to be going on from Thursday until Monday, I believe. I don't have the schedule in front of me and my computer is not acting right. But I encourage you to go over to Africa's Brain Bank. That's AFRICAS, Africa's brainbank.org, and you will find all the information that you need right there. You will find the link to register. You can register for the whole entire weekend, which I believe is about $1,000. Or you could just come on Saturday for the summit and the red carpet gala on Saturday night. That's like $250. The billionaire breakfast on Sunday morning, which is another $250. I'm telling you, that's going to be Network City. You'll be able to network and rub elbows with Africa and those in the diasporas, big money makers. Network, bring your business cards, come with a plan. Our keynote speaker for the summit this year will be our very own CEO, Reverend Dr. Pam. And who better to talk about the vision of Africa's Brain Bank than the CEO? Amen. The Africa's Brain Bank focuses on STEM and STEM activities for our young people. Its main purpose is to keep Africa's brains in Africa. We want to make sure that our children on the continent are being educated properly and that the education that they're getting is equal to coming to the United States or going to Europe. We want to keep Africa's brains in Africa.
Ambassador Lisa, I'm so sorry. Did you guys announce the topic?
Yes, we did. And you're messing with my flow here. But now
No,
that you're
I'm
here,
sorry. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't. Okay, thank you. You guys take it away.
but now that you're here, you want to talk about the summit and the charity ball, which is where I'm at. Okay, she is still busy. So as I was saying,
Ambassador Lisa, sorry. No, why? I thought you were talking about it. So yes, it's gonna be in New York City. Dr. Ogoji is one of our honorees, so is Nia Song. I don't know who has iPhone, but it's gonna be in New York City, and the tickets are open. You have to purchase your ticket to get the discount. Hotel link. Ambassador Lisa, you will be there. So we need everybody to push it. We need everybody to push it. It's going to be amazing. And Ambassador Lisa, we have one of your Kenyan sisters coming from Bahrain. She's going to bring a lot of investors. So you know a lot of people, we need sponsorships. We are trying to get about 100 students. So we need people to sponsor those students too. So yes, everybody should push it. I will put the ticket link on the chat box, and then I'm gonna go back on mute.
So one of the Africa's brain, not one of them, but there are three main legs to Africa's brain banks. There is the STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and there is STEW, which is social media, transportation, telecommunication, energy and electricity, and water. And then we have the African High School Association, AHSA.
You got it.
If you go to africasbrainbank.org, you will find those links down there. Learn more. Hit that green button to learn more about what Africa's Brain Bank is doing. Become a partner. So connect. It is very important. It's very vital to those of us on the continent and to those of us in the diaspora. We need you. We can't do what it is that we're trying to do without you. So that is the announcements for today. Again, Africa's Brain Bank 6th Annual Summit and Charity Ball will be August 28th through September 1st. It is Labor Day weekend in New York City. Get your tickets. Get your plane tickets, come across the country, come up north, come down south, wherever it is you got to come from. Meet us in New York for a grand time. Nia-san, back to our conversation. Before we left, we'd already talked about the influences that mothers and women have had in our families. We talked about the influence that some of them have had in our cities and in our governmental places and spaces. Before we went on break, we were talking about the world at large. We were talking about in the athletic world. We talked about Venus and Serena, how they are number one in tennis in the entire world. And I guess all the history. It didn't say that they were, but they are the first African Americans that are number one in the field of tennis. I want to talk about a couple more. I have this amazing book called, and we're not promoting any books and nobody is sponsoring us, but when you are trying to educate your children and you're trying to find the field where they're working in, or you think that they're looking at a field or working in a field or having an idea to do something in a field that's not been done, someone has already done it and someone has blazed a trail, but you just don't know that. So you need to connect, especially in the area of STEM. You want to look at a book called Changing the Equation. It's 50 plus US Black women in STEM. It talks about people that you have never even thought about in so many different categories. You think about inventors. Yeah, we know about inventors. And yes, we know about actors and things like that. But there are so many other areas in which our children can go. We can go into being a doctor. You don't have to just be a doctor. You can go into different types of medicine. And you know what's coming back? I believe house calls are coming back as more and more health agencies are coming into fruition, and they're encouraging patients not to go to the hospital, to stay home and have a nurse or somebody take care of you. Doctors are now going back out into the field. I always thought that was a wonderful idea to have doctors who were making home visits to see their patients. I think it's more personal. I don't know, Dr. Gold, you're going to tell me a little later on. I'm going to ask you if you're making home visits or house calls there in Seattle, or maybe when you go back home to Africa, do you make house calls? I'm curious to know that. But we're working in areas of surgery and pharmacy and genetics. We're working in the areas of psychology and biology. We're working in the areas of laser scientists and inventors and computers. There are many areas in which we can go in. I have a friend of mine who just completed his PhD, and he completed it in a discipline that he created. So you have that ability. We're talking about Africa's brains, the brains that we have on the continent. You can do and be anything you want to do and be. I know it sounds like I'm giving my last word, but I want you to understand and be very encouraged that the things that your children are thinking of, the things that they're doing. I was visiting with my cousin yesterday, and she was explaining to me about her grandchildren. She said, I was going to bring the babies down to see you. She said, but one of them was upstairs all covered in his armor. And I was like, I'm not going to make him put clothes. I said, what do you mean in his armor? She said, oh, he likes to build and make things. He takes cardboard and tape, and he makes all kind of things. And he had built himself a suit of armor. She said a suit of armor, but when he came downstairs, he told me he had built himself a robot body. So, and I told him how when we were children, I had my cousins making things out of cardboards, but we weren't making robot bodies, but we would make jewelry and we made slippers for our parents and grandparents for Christmas gifts and things like that. So it runs in the family. So what is your children are doing? Look at that. She said one of them likes to build, the other one likes to destroy and take apart. She told them that she told them they need to start a construction company because one likes to color, draw, and build, and the other one likes to destroy. So he could be the one that tear down old buildings, and the other brother can put together plans. I said, well, look, you got to speak those things into existence. So we can't just let our children just be flying by the seat of their pants. There are things and people and places that can help guide them and help influence them. Nia-san.
Yes, I think Dr. Ogoji is back, and we need for him to finish his line of thought before we take the round of the table. Dr. Ogoji, you still have something to say? And there's somebody with an iPhone. I thought the person will be able to unmute and let us know who.
I think that's Dr. Gloria.
Guys, I couldn't change it.
Okay.
Yes, that was Dr. Gloria earlier. She was driving.
Okay, Dr. Ogoji, not your final thoughts, but something more that you needed to say about women, the role of women in our communities, in our society, and in our families.
Yeah, so before you start, Dr. Goji, I asked you about your mother before we Went to the top of the hour. Now, our second question was about someone who was influential in your community, maybe your uh, city council person, maybe your mayor, maybe back home, where you come from. Who's that black woman? Who's that African American woman who was influencing the community?
That's a tough one. You know, Africa eh, is a male-dominant society.
Unfortunately.
The women must stay in the background and observe.
Yes.
But thinking forward, who is that woman in my community that I think make moves? Yeah, I mean, women have their own union that they control things.
Yes.
So I'll take that back. Yeah, so in as much as Africa is a male-dominant society, women have their own rules. Like in family dynamic, in my culture, Igbo culture, the women have a very strong say. They call them in my family now, all the girls that have been married out to different families, we call them our daughters. So whenever they feel that there is a problem between we, the family members, their brothers, and our wives, they come to broker peace. So if I have to invite my sisters or my girls from my family and married outside my family to come and settle issue with my wife, that's a serious issue. So
Wow.
women have a rule to keep the family together.
Hmm.
So when there is dispute between husband and wife, that cannot be resolved amicably, the women of that family, this go both sides, you know, the women have that power to come and say, hey, wife, you stay here, husband, you stay here. I say, this is my brother, this is how he wrote, this is how we raise him. And you are the wife, this is what you're supposed to do. You don't do this, you don't do this is your punishment, and vice versa. So women have that power to keep family together.
Okay. Yes, they do.
So
Good.
they do, yeah. They come and they will say when they get involved in marital issue, the woman involved in that marital issue must sit up and make sure that she's doing the right thing. Of course, if the man is doing the wrong thing, the woman can also invite um, the men in her family. So if me and my wife having problems, she can invite the men in her family to come and caution me
Hmm.
for the things that I should be doing to take care of their daughter. So women have the rule in the man's life to control things, while the men have the rule to control things in their daughter's life when they get married. So they
Okay.
have the rules and they have the very distinct rules that when they say it is final. This is what they have to be. They have to be. You have to give your husband food. You have to do this. You have to do this. If you realize and the people, I mean, that resolve that no instead of going to the court and getting judges and lawyers, women have the role in making sure that the men in the society are being treated fairly by their wives. So that's Africa. Then to answer your question directly, um, so in every family there's a lion woman. There's a woman that's a lion.
Uh,
That if she barks, everybody settles down. There's a lion woman, yeah. I have my auntie that I remember very, very well. Every time he comes around the family, everybody must be of good behavior. That if something's going wrong, he say, I'm going to call auntie this. He's going to call people. Even my dad will say, please, I don't want to have trouble. My uncles, I don't want to have trouble. So women have the rule in Africa. So their own role they play in their own minor way based on the upbringing of things. Then community-wise, I mean, again, as I said before, most things in Africa are dominated by men. There are few women politicians that have come out and do things that we know. Like politically, in the last election in Nigeria, Nigerian election is always done by who's the biggest fighter, who can pay the biggest money, who's going to rig best. But last election in Nigeria, one woman stood up in one of the elections. She was because elections are managed by professors. So the returning officers that head of election are managed by professors in the university. They are the one that count the vote and call final result. So in one of the governor election, the woman was there counting the result, and the politicians were losing. The non-politicians, the big money were losing, and they try every way to intimidate her to change the result, and she stood her ground.
hmm
Her name is Professor Otis. So today, everybody in Nigeria talk about that woman. What he did in Abia State in Nigeria, he said, "This is a result. No amount of money I'm going to change the result." He actually called the name of those who gave her money to change the result. I said, "Come and kill me, I will die. People choose a vote. I'm standing by my vote." And he declared the governor the winner. And people were, wow, wow. In fact, they tried to actually assassinate her along the line. He said, "I will die for the truth. The result came to me. I'm not going to change it." So women are that powerful. So basically, I would say, I think it's time that we in Africa should give women a chance,
Yes, I
because
agree.
the men have been ruling that continent for years, and they have been dominating the continent, spoiling things. Nothing good can come out from men politicians. I'm sorry, guys. They're out there
The
to
truth
steal
is the
money
truth now.
and
Yeah.
pocket their money. And why I'm hoping that with women becoming in charge, they'll have common sense. My common sense, I was how what's the best for the community. That even between what we see in America, the politicians here are thieves, but they think about the future generation, whatever
Yes.
that. In Africa, politicians are thieves, they think about them. They don't care about the people. If you go to a place like Middle East where there's no elections, they're ruled by kingdoms, the Saudi crown prince, the Dubai prince. Those people, nobody chooses them, but they develop their environment because they feel that they need to leave something for their generation to be.
Yes.
So hoping that African women, if they let them get into politics and help to solve problems, they will think about solving problems for the unborn generation, not just their children. Because I'm a firm believer that if you're the only person standing in the forest, if I go to my house now, I have my house, I have 24-hour electricity, have my own water, I have everything, and nobody around me is able to afford 3 square meal, I cannot survive. I will kill you one day. So you have to make sure that people around you are okay for you to be able to enjoy your life. So
Yes.
women have a rule for that, because women have the softer mind. They have the female gender that's always want to think of what's happening to my future, what's happening to my children's future, what's happening to the community's future, and think about their family and the society as a whole more than men who are more egocentric.
Thank you, Dr. Goji. You have said a mouthful. I like that. Um, if women begin to get into politics, especially on the continent, we can see things change. Amen. And we need to begin to think 50 years down the road, not just our family or maybe our grand. We got to start looking at generations to come because we are enjoying the history that was made by people centuries ago. They didn't know they were going to be making history, but they still were living their lives with a plan for their future generations. And that's where we need to begin to think as well about our future generations. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And I think I'm giving my last word. So I'm going to stop talking and turn it over to Nia Song and think about a new last word.
Yes, I'm going to start the round of the table now for the last word. Dr. Gloria, please unmute and give us your last word. If you are not yet unmuting, we'll let Dr. Goji have a sip of that water and then, okay, we'll start with Dr. Gloria. Your last word before we go to Dr. Goji.
Yeah, so I want to thank Her Excellency, Reverend Dr. Lisa, Dr. Goji, Sister Deborah, and to you, Professor Niasan, and to your lovely, beautiful anchor that you have there, your secret weapon.
Thank you for that.
That's right, because nobody messes with Professor Niasan.
That's right.
I like that. I like that. Yes.
Yes, and as women, that's what we do. We are nurturers, we are protectors, and we do need our men in society to step up. That's why I started my nonprofit, Mr. DC, so that we could provide a platform to help men to do exactly that and to feel honored after they've done that. Because I think for men, it's kind of difficult for them to understand that we do celebrate them and that we do honor them. I think because, you know, they are natural protectors and they go to the military, and we try to celebrate them even when they come back from the military, and they don't get it. They're just like, oh, I just do it for my country. And then when I worked at the fire department, I noticed that all the firemen, they'll run into a burning building, but have a difficult time reaching across the dinner table, reaching out to their wives and understanding what their wives are going through. So we still have a long way to go as women and as men. And I just want to thank you all for this opportunity to shed some light. And the next action step is for everybody to step up. Thank you so much.
Amen. Time to
Thank you
step
so
up.
much, Dr. Gloria, and see you next week. Dr. Ogoji, the ball is in your court now. Play it the best you can.
Not much. I wonder if a Igbo chief who gave the red cap.
Came from my village.
Okay.
Dr. Ogoji, we are one people. You know that as a Cameroonian. You know
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Anyway, all I will say, women are the backbone of the family. When I never say never, you know, a good example is I was trying to discipline my daughter the other day. I said, I'm going to take all your electronics, and I say, I'm going to take it for 2-3 weeks. You won't get any more. And I told her that even my grandfather, who was late over 20 years ago, he comes, I'm not going to change my mind.
Mhm.
The next day, the mom called and said, you have to do this. Please, XYZ. Of course, I changed my mind. After I said, look, please let me do my daughter, but because of you, I'll make it 1 week, not 1 month anymore. That's the mother trying to make things better. Without
Yes.
her, I'm like electronics for a month, but I cannot do it. If I do it, I'll be the one to run away. They are so powerful. So basically, women are the one that we are the best in us, because women, we try to do the things we understand best. We do the things to pass the information I want to pass to the society, discipline, way behavior, everything. Sometimes go to the extreme to make a point. The women are there to soften us. Take it easy. Calm down. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. Because with them, you can go to your door. You know what? Thank God for your mom. I changed my mind. You get it in 1 week instead of 1 month. Because 1 month of electronics for these teenagers is something much, something else.
It's cruel and unusual punishment.
Mm.
Yeah. It wasn't cruel. I mean, I gave her a chance to do. I said one
No,
day.
I know. I say it will be cruel for them because the electronics is
Yes.
it's their lifeline, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah. Pesa, it took me like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. I said 2 months. I said 2 months. Calm down. I said, oh, daddy, stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Calm down. That actually came down to the 1 week later with the help of the mother. That's what women do. They know the magic. So,
That's
Amen.
right.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Thank you. Now, Ambassador Lisa, your turn.
Thank you, Professor Deason. We've had a wonderful conversation here talking about women and mothers and their roles in our family, our community, and in the nations, nationally and internationally. And we are so grateful that you thought it not robbery to come and spend this time with us here. Whether you're watching the replay or you're here live, we want you to know that we appreciate you. We honor you, especially our mothers, our grannies, our aunties. But let me just tell you, we are here every Sunday from 4 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Now, if you don't know what time that is on your continent or in your country or even in your city or your state, use the timezoneconverter.com to find out what time that we come on in your area and join the conversation. Follow us on Facebook, like and subscribe to us on YouTube, and join us again next week as we have another wonderful topic that will benefit you on the continent and those of us in the diaspora. God bless you. Happy Mother's Day again.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you. And now to the chair of Africa Online Media Corporation. Your Highness, please.
I want to thank all of you again. And Dr. Ogoji, happy Mother's Day to your wife. Hope we get to meet her. I hope she'll come to New York at least to be there with you and see how you're going to be honored. And but I'm going to tell you this: when you're coming up, we're going to play Cameroon music because you're a Cameroonian. We're not playing Igbo music. We're going to play Cameroon music. We sold and we build you, and Nigeria is benefiting from you. From Cameroon sweat. It's like a woman that marries a man when the man had no money and built wealth, and then when the man becomes a billionaire, he gets another wife. That's what Nigeria did. They took Dr. Goji was born and bred and trained in Cameroon, and now Nigeria is benefiting. But anyway, I'm not complaining. You are still a Cameroonian. Nigerians and Cameroonians are one people anyway. I want to thank all of you. Happy Mother's Day again to you, Ambassador Lisa, Dr. Crosslin, Nia Song's wife, Dr. Goji's wife. Let's see you next year. We also need some students. We need student interns to help us with our social media platforms, and to push this. We create content here every Sunday. We've created content for more than 9 years, and we need it to go further than where it's gone. So thank you all. And next month will be dedicated to men. Dr. Crosslin, let me know which Sunday you can bring your Mr. DC people to come and talk about what you do. We are dedicating June to men, Dr. Crosslin. So keep that in mind. Let us know which Sunday. It cannot be the last Sunday of the month because that will be a medical topic, but we want to give you a platform to talk about your Mr. DC and bring some of them on the program. Over to you, Niason.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for being here today. It's been a pleasure, and we continue to say Happy Mother's Day to all mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, mothers-to-be, mothers, biological and non-biological mothers. We appreciate all what you do for us, and please continue to be that shoulder on which we can cry. Thank you all very much.